Everybody, I really want to thank for this opportunity to come out and talk about some of the things that are going on in San Francisco. And it's not just here, it's all over the world. One of the things I was thinking about today, just to talk about things in a more general sense, is San Francisco State has a very rich history of student involvement. I don't know if a lot of you probably don't remember the student strike in 1968 when the students fought back, Ronald Reagan, S.I. Hayakawa, and people like that. And when we fast forward to today, we have like a situation where a lot of students are being pushed out of higher education via higher tuition fees and just not being able to come here and do the things they say you should be able to do according to the American dream. Which brings into question, does the American dream really exist anymore? When you look at what happened to the recession in the last couple years, and when the dust has settled on the playing field, you look around and you see a lot of bad things that are happening to working people, and students are working people too. A lot of you come from working families. A lot of you come from families where your mom and dad, uncles or aunts, or somebody who were involved in a union like I am. And the bad things that are happening to us is not just something that a Muni operator has to deal with, but it's something that there's pain across the board in more ways than one. I could go on and on and on, but what I want to talk about today is the fact that there are things that are going on right here in this city where you have some initiatives on the ballot. Proposition B, which is an anti-working class initiative which seeks to put the burden of health care off on people who do not make a lot of money, off on working people, and take them down further, closer and closer to poverty and below the poverty level. What corporations want in this country now is they want you to come to places like this, spend your last nickel and last dime, and they don't want to pay you any money. They want you to work literally for free. A lot of students are saying now, well, how and what kind of a job can I get in the good old USA when a lot of jobs are being outsourced? This is what's happening to us right now. Proposition B was a proposition that's being funded by one of the original investors of the Google Corporation. Everybody here knows what Google is all about, right? Google search. And a lot of people who are funding a lot of this anti-working class stuff are people who don't even live in the city. They don't even know what our pain is like. They don't know what our moms and dads go through so we can come to school and buy books and pay this tuition. Proposition G was put on the ballot by a San Francisco supervisor. His name is Sean Ellsberg. The initiative is called Fix Muni Now, but it says nothing about dedicated funding. This proposition is probably one of the most racist things that I've seen since I've been at Muni. I came here in 1995. I originally came from Detroit, Michigan. We can go into that, that's another story. But Proposition G seeks to basically take transit workers in San Francisco back to the dark ages. They want to lower wages. They want to make the work environment very hostile. And they want to tell you stuff like, well, you know, Muni operators don't have to come to work. They don't have to show up. They don't have to call, and they still get paid. Lie. Big time lie. If you don't come to work, don't show up, don't call, you're facing suspension and possibly termination based upon your record. There's a lot of things that's being said about working people, including a lot of you people here, students. People say students don't do anything. I think that's the biggest lie that's told. Students, you guys, to me, I've always equated going to school as like having a full-time job. You know? And then after you finish college and you go out into the work world, no corporation really pays you for the pain and suffering that your parents went through or what you went through in terms of getting an education. So what they do is they come on campus and they mine the field. It's kind of like baseball when they go into colleges and they take people off and give them a few $1,000s and send them to AAA. So what I'm saying is that the things that you are confronted with today in terms of being a student is no different than what working folk is going through now. We're all workers. Yeah. We all have a fight. This is, right now what's happening in this country is totally, utterly pathetic and despicable in terms of the way working folk is treated. I am asking all of you students, any spare time you have, whether it be an hour, 2 hours, half a day, 30 minutes, to come out and try to get involved in some of this stuff. Because we're all one and the same. Because what's going to happen is, with the ballot initiatives and the newspapers, you notice the newspapers via corporate America have kind of turned everything on its head. It used to be, when Obama came in office, that it was very, very bad what corporate America was doing to taxpayers' money in terms of bailouts. Now they've turned everything on its head and they say, okay, you ought to, you need to vote for Proposition B. You need to do this. It's really sad. So what I'm saying is, don't believe everything that you read and hear. And there's an old saying that goes something like this: with no investigation and study, you don't have no right to speak. In other words, I'm here to tell you that a lot of this stuff on the ballot here in San Francisco, and a lot of things that you guys out here are facing, we're not going to be able to defeat any of that unless we do it as one class of people, working folk. For the most part, in America now, you don't really have too much of a middle class. I came from a part of the country where Ford Motor Company, General Motors, and Chrysler came in and made billions and billions and billions of dollars. I worked on an assembly line. I made cars, Chevy Novas to be more precise. Tested carburetors, a whole bit. They came in and made all kind of money, and when they couldn't make any more, when they were challenged by Japan and other countries around the world, they pulled up shop. And when you look at the landscape back there, it's really terrible. So what I'm saying to you is that we have an opportunity to make a difference in this country, to make a difference in your life, to make a difference in your children's life, and to make our forefathers, the people who came before us, proud. And we cannot do it by giving in to corporate America. We cannot do it by calling somebody a name because he or she is on welfare. They can't do no better because they lost their job and they can't afford to feed their family. There's all kinds of things out here now, pitfalls in terms of how working class people are being divided up by color, by so-called class, or whatever. We have a thing going on now over on Fillmore Street where we're trying to recruit people to help us do phone banking, precinct work. If you have some time, can't really afford to pay you, but we can feed you. We have water, we have sodas, that kind of a thing, but we need your input. We need your help. I'm glad to be here because when I first came to San Francisco, this was like one of the first places I stopped off at in terms of higher education. I've always had like a kind of a special thing about San Francisco State because when I was a kid in high school back in the 60s, I used to read about a lot of the great things that was being done right here on this campus. And this was like, you guys have a lot to be proud of in terms of what San Francisco State has meant, not only to the struggle here in America of working folk, but to the civil rights struggle, to the struggle of working people, to struggle, period. Because there was a lot of great things that went on here. Things that and you know what? One of the things that really kind of got me going in terms of a beacon of light, or in terms of really seeing things the way it was in this country, was what happened here at San Francisco State. So what I'm asking people here to do today, step to the plate. I'm not asking anybody to do anything above and beyond what they can or cannot do, but if you can give an hour, a half hour to do phone banking, to do precinct work, I'll sign you up right now. I want to thank you guys for inviting us out here. And remember, when you vote on November 2nd, vote no on Proposition G, vote no on Proposition B, and I think it's Proposition L, which is a sit-in line, vote no on that. We do not and will not stand for a tax on working folk. No. We're all in this together. Let's fight this together. And let's just remember where we came from. A lot of us come from working class families. Our parents went to wars for this country. They fought in Vietnam. You got people probably got grandfathers or great grandparents who fought in World War II. People in the Gulf, Afghanistan, that kind of a thing. We have paid a dear price, and we're still paying it. Let's make the corporations in America, just like we bailed them out, okay? Your tax dollars help bail out companies like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and AIG and things like that. Let's make them pay for public transportation. Let's make them subsidize the education of young working people who want to get an education, and also for those people who want to get a job. We got to step to the plate. These people you see are not your enemies. We're all friends here. We're all amongst friends. So I want people to, like I said, give an hour, half hour, whatever you can give. I'm going to sign you up. Come and see me over here. Thanks a lot for having me. And in closing, I'd like to say, don't forget where you came from, because if you don't remember where you came from, there's a very good possibility you may make a mistake in the future in terms of not understanding your history. If you don't understand what happened here at San Francisco State in 1968, Google it.